because before my talk today on boat and raft, maybe we'll start with a show of hands. Who are the swimmers here? Can you put your hands up? Okay, so I presume for those who didn't raise your hands are non-swimmers. So don't worry, I'm one of those too, and I don't know swim at all, even this day. Now, I would never imagine I could have this chance to stand here today if I did not make a pivotal decision in 1979. I was born in Vietnam, where my parents were originally from China. My childhood dream was, I always want to be a scientist when I grow up. But as you know, back in Vietnam, back then, with the hardship and also the discrimination against the people with a Chinese background, I couldn't see I was able to excel my career or my knowledge if I was choosing to stay in Vietnam. So that made me with no choice to leave Vietnam. And I was fully aware of the risk of taking the journey. Yet, I was so determined to escape regardless. And bravely, I took the sea route in search of my freedom and my hope. I left Vietnam as a refugee in 1979 on a small fishing boat across the Gulf of Thailand. And the boat, the dimension was 19 meters in length and 3.5 meters in width. This tiny, unseaworthy boat carried 409 people on board. Remember, I said to you before, I don't know swimming at all. And you can imagine how I felt. And I ignored all the dangerous nature of my passage out of Vietnam. Yet, I took this trip. And the boat could capsize, and I would be the first to be drowned or die in the open sea. The escape journey took 4 days and 3 nights across the Gulf of Thailand. And we end up in a refugee camp, of course. So that is that life at 5.5 months in a refugee camp in Malaysia. Then I was very lucky to be accepted by the Australian government to settle in where? In Brisbane. And the first 9 months, I was employed by a boating company, working as a factory hand, while I waited for my Vietnamese qualification to be translated into English, a test and accept as equivalent to an Australian university qualification. 1980 was a real turning point in my life journey. I was given the opportunity to work as a research assistant, and at that time allowed me to study further to achieve my PhD degree. So I went from factory to a laboratory, and it allowed me to be what I was meant to be always, a scientist, and I can start seeing my childhood dream being fulfilled with time. So you have heard about the story about boats. Let me now talk about raft. Here I'm not talking about the sport of whitewater rafting, nor the science of making a better or safer life raft. Instead, I'm going to walk you through a technology that I'm so deeply involved in discovery together with my 2 colleagues, Dr. Ezio Rizardo and Dr. Graham Moe, while I work at CSIRO. The process that we coined it as reversible addition fragmentation chain transfer, in short, RAFT. That's where the word RAFT, the RAFT process. Okay. So how do we come about the discovery of RAFT? Well, if you look around this place and things you possess, I'm sure you agree with me, there are many items made from polymers, or commonly known as plastics. Indeed, polymers are essential elements for our modern life. And of course, there are plenty of incentive for scientists around the world to come up with a better way of making better polymers. And we as CSR were no exception at that time. We spent tireless research effort in the same pursuit. Then in 1995, in one of the experiments we did, to our amaze, the finding was so unexpected and exciting because we had never seen such a remarkable result before throughout all our past experiments. Okay? So that we realized straight away we had made a major breakthrough for our scientific career, and we come up with a better way of making polymers. And that's how we come about the discovery of this RAFT process. And the following 2.5 years, we scope out all the elements for the invention, and we make this known to the world in the 1998. So you might want to know, what is RAFT? In essence, RAFT is a chemical process. It's a radical polymerization undergo the mechanism of reversible addition, fermentation, chain transfer. The process was first observed when we add an organic compounds, a RAFT agent, to the conventional process. And of course, the success of the RAFT process all depend on how we select the correct RAFT reagent and the condition used. Okay, let me delve into RAFT a little bit more. So RAFT is one of the 3 current living radical polymerization processes known today. The other 2 processes are the nitroxide living radical polymerization, NMP, and the atom transfer radical polymerization, ATRP. And RAFT is the recent entrance in this field, as you can see, the 1998. It is arguably the most convenient and flexible process because of the effectiveness and industrial friendliness. What distinguishes RAFT from all other methods is that the RAFT process can be used in a wider range of monomers and the reaction condition. And in each case, the RAFT can give you polymer with controlled molecular weights and also with very narrow molecular weight distribution that you have never seen before. That resulting the polymer structure more pure, and you require less condition in the downstream processing. So let me take you to the animation here. And this can certainly help you to understand better of the RAFT process. And the role of the RAFT agent here act much like a policeman to direct and control during the radical polymerization process. And also, we can see that the end group are kept by the same chemical moiety as the original RAFT agent used. This, of course, allows us further modification to make better novel materials and more complex architecture, such as the structure shown here. And all this structure cannot be done using the conventional radical process. So you might ask, what can RAFT do? Well, I can say our invented RAFT process can be used to give you all the material that you want to, because applied to the wider range of monomers and reaction condition, and also the RAFT process can give you the way that you can come up with all the industrial and commercial products, such as the applications are wide-ranging, such as in performance coating, you can see the lubricants and so on. Okay, so the RAFT process is a tool. A tool enables the rational design of the polymeric structure with enhanced properties and utility, so that people can overcome the technical challenge in their industry if they're using the RAFT process. So, if I look back sometime, I still find it very difficult for me to believe my life journey thus far, because I was boat people in the late 1970s who decide to take a risk. And I studied very hard and achieved my childhood's dream. Now I'm a scientist. And due to the work of RAFT and its achievement, 2014 was a year that I've been selected as a Thomson Reuters Citation Laureate and tipped to be the contender for the Nobel Prize in the future years. And through the years, I have also learned that to succeed in science requires the same quality as to succeed in life. Never be afraid of the failure. Always persist and never stop learning. So my message to you today is don't afraid to take risks and learn as much knowledge as you can, because you never know where your journey can take you. And for me, it's from boat to RAFT. Thank you.